5 minutes. Good. Now, just like my co-judge has said, we were given this instruction and we are going to stick to it. Each of the candidates picked a topic, and their tag number, the one that has tag number 1 has the first topic, and these topics were given by the management of the school. I will read out the topics that they have. After the last topic, we'll begin a countdown of 5 minutes. The 5 minutes is to give you that time to put and finalize your thoughts, your points. At the end of the 5 minutes, I would ask you to drop your pen on the floor. If you pick up your pen for any reason, you would go back. You'll be disqualified. So at the end of that 5 minutes, all the writing would stop and then would enter the debate, the impromptu speech proper. The first topic we have here is the effect of despicable act of making love in the toilet. The second topic, internet porn and its effects on youths. Sexual acts in our schools and the way forward. Number 4, cybercrime. Number 5, computer games and the effects on youths. Number 6, one thing I like best in DLHS. 7, one thing I hate most in DLHS. 8, making through friends. 9, foolishness in teenage sexual acts. 10, dilemma of teenage pregnancy. 11, why I hate casual sex. 12, my advice to government on pedophiles. 13, youth, sex, and mobile phones. 14, effect of home pornography and the effects on the youth. 15, factors influencing youth sexting practice. 16, transmission media and relationship contexts. 17, sexual purity. 18, steps to avoid in losing one's chastity. 19, a decent youth in a corrupt environment. 20, the dilemma of a careless visitation. 21, a Joseph before Potiphar's wife. 22, dangers of sexual suggestive messages. And the last topic, sorrowful effect of pool and game betting. Our speech presenters have not seen these topics before. They just got to know their topics right after the lucky dip, and they will be making their presentation. The media, let the countdown begin.
While the countdown is on, the guidelines for scoring is that audience control, which is the ability of the speaker to carry the listeners along, will carry 20 marks. 2, diction, the articulation of speech, which has to do with the manner in which something is expressed in words, will take 20 marks. 3, relevance, the relation of something to the matter at hand, equally carries 20 marks. Number 4 is a grammar. a good command of the grammar, tenses, and all that carries 20 marks. And finally, number 5 is elocution, an expert manner of speaking involving control of voice, breath control, and gestures. That takes 20 marks. So you have a total of 100 marks tonight. Your 5 minutes countdown is still on.
Please, teachers should help us with the noise. Please. Please, the noise is rising instead of reducing.
I'm looking for someone from the crowd to come and join them. Educators, we need you to help us to control the students you are standing beside. If we find out that the noise is coming from your campus, we will subtract mark from your student on stage.
Three, two, one, time up. Drop your pens. Tag number 1. The stage is yours. Now, timer, she has 90 seconds. 90 seconds, good. You can work with what you have written down, you can. It's a speech. Tag 1, your time starts now.
Good day to all seated here. Chairman, distinguished audience, I'm Dafra Whitney, and I'm here to talk on the topic, the effects of the despicable act of making love in the toilet. First of all, the act of making love isn't for teenagers, isn't for youth, it isn't even just for the adults. It's for those who are eligible. And when I mean eligible, I am talking of those that are married. You can't expect me to walk into a toilet today and I see people committing immorality. That alone is disturbing. It's creating a nuisance in our society today. Now, we see that people no longer care about what others have to think about them. Even those who aren't born again, who aren't righteous, but with a sense of decency, can see that immorality in our society is growing at a very fast rate. And we are trying all that we have to curtail this. You know, making love in the toilet can cause psychological disorder to the person that witnesses that kind of thing. The person will never become the same because it may stir up desires in that person to do the wrong thing.
Time up.
Thank you.
Tag 2. Tag 2, 90 seconds. Your time starts now.
The moderator, those present here at the high tables with us, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am Jules Oldham. I'm here to speak on internet porn and its effects on youth. Firstly, what is porn? Porn, also known as pornography, can refer to the explicit representation of human
We are not
body.
hearing you. Remove the mic, put it.
Porn can also be known as the explicit representation of human body. The porn can negatively affect youth when they go to
Media.
pornographic sites.
Media, please stop his time. We'll only do this once. Can you hear yourself? See, you're holding the mic. Put it a little bit far from your mouth so we can hear. We'll start now. Did you hear what I just told him? When you come to that mic, hold it a little bit far from your mouth so we can hear what you're saying. If not, it will affect your scoring. Media, let's go. Your time starts now.
The chairman, those who are present at the high tables, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am Jules Oldham and I'm here to speak on the topic of internet porn and its effects on youth. Firstly, what is porn? Porn, also known as pornography, is the explicit representation of human body. Porn can negatively affect youth if youth go and visit negative pornographic sites on the internet. After watching or seeing such of these pornographic images, youth may want to go and practice them somewhere else. And when the people don't want to practice them, don't want to do, which might cause rape in the society. Youth may also waste their money to buy recharge cards to charge up their phone so they can browse on these phones. And when they don't have money, they can go and steal from others, which increases crime rates in the society. When such of these practices is done and the female is pregnant, it might lead to drop out of school. And when she's dropped out, her future is destroyed. So virgins are cheerful in society and they are loved in the society. So I advise you all that you should stay back from all of these pornographic sites and God may bless you so your future will not be destroyed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to talk on the topic. I'm Deborah Knox Harrison, and I'm talking on the topic sexual acts in our school and the way forward. Firstly, sex is something every man would like to partake in. Like something that seems pleasant to a man, especially to students, but they don't know that it's a path to destruction. They engage in it first and foremost because of peer pressure. Peers nowadays, they feel this is the life. Yes, if you don't engage in this, you're not one of us. So because of that, many students today, because they want to feel among, they want to be amongst the guys, like the top people in schools. So they engage in sex acts, leading other people to destruction. Now, do we fall to sex acts that teachers should keep an eye on students? They should not just allow them wandering about without any destination. They should also set like fellowships in school to give children awareness on the effects that sex can cause at youthful ages. Because they actually perish for lack of knowledge. It's even written in the Bible. So they need to be taught, they need to be educated on the effects of sex acts at this young age. So for me, I suggest that there should be fellowships, there should be counseling to students so that they will be aware and they will be brought up. They will know the effects of sex today, the diseases it can cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Tag 4, you've got the floor. Your time starts now.
Growing up as a child, I thought I was being punished by my dad. When I told him to get me PS4, he buys me a book on effects of games for me to read. When I asked him for PlayStation, he buys me a book on concentration. And when I ask him to play reality games in 3D, he always tells me, wake up from your fantasy. I never understood all these reasons until I went to Shining Stars Nursery and Primary School, Benue State, and met my best friend, Iroko Moses, the chairman, Mr. Moderator, the management, staff, and students. Good evening. Feeling highly elated and greatly privileged to deliver this speech centered on computer games and the effects on youth, because it's the most alarming contemporary issue challenging youth of our generation. There are three most disastrous effects of computer games. First, failure. Secondly, reduces cognitive abilities. And finally, reduced visibility. Now, when you hear of playing games in 3D, I went undercover and discovered that 3D simply stands for games. 1, as a distraction. 2, it makes you destitute. And finally, it leads to your destruction. Permit me to end with a statement. Inasmuch as the love of money is the root of all evil, the inordinate desires for games is the Broadway that opens hellfire of failure and shame. And don't forget, it closes the gate immediately you cross it. Thank you.
Put your hands together for tag 4. Thank you. Thank you. Tag 5. All right, 6. Where's tag 4? Okay, nobody picked number 4. Okay, 6, you're up. You have the floor. Your time starts now.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, audience. Standing before you is Uwem Gladness Udoka, here to speak on the topic, one thing I like best in DLHS. There are various things I like in DLHS. Some of those things are sports, teaching, excursions, etc. But the one I love best is that of learning. Learning is the beauty of life. It is the act of knowing things that were unknown to you. Learning is a gradual and continuous process. It never stops, even when you are old. We learn new things each day. Learning is the best thing for me because the methods used for teaching in Deeper Life High School are good. We have good e-learning facilities like projectors. I love learning because when I learn, I get to know about the things unknown. And by this, I get informed about what is being done in the society. Learning is fun. Learning is one of the best experiences in my life because it is one of the things that helps in the development of your future. Learning is one of the things that one requires in life, and it's actually fun and amazing if you give it a try. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you understand that there's something called audience control. You are judged on your audience control ability. Tag 6 or 7. Your time starts now.
Good day, the chairman, panel of judges, audience. My name is Iman Bardi Pate, and I'm here to speak on One thing I hate most about DLHS. What is hate? Firstly, in my own words, hate is a strong feeling of dislike for a particular thing or a particular person. Now, the thing I hate most about DLHS, not to get anyone offended, but I don't like my hostel mistress. She's too strict, and too much of everything isn't good. She doesn't try to understand how that student feels in a particular situation. She just goes ahead and punish the student. Like, I can give an instance of one of my classmates. Her clothes fell down when she hung it at back where we wash. So when the clothes fell down, her hostel mistress called her and told her that when she comes back from dining, she should go and pick her clothes. She came back, she met the hostel mistress, but the hostel mistress wasn't answering her. So she went to the hostel. The hostel mistress just went to the hostel and started flogging her, telling her that she didn't come to the back when she instructed her to. Secondly, now, another instance I can give. When I fetched my bucket of water, I don't know who used the bucket, but I thought my bucket of water was still there. So I carried the water to go and bathe. She just came and started flogging me that I carried another person's water to use. Thank you.
All right. The clothes fall down. The clothes fell. When anything falls, it goes where? Downwards, isn't it? All right, next.
Tag 8. You have 90 seconds. Your time starts now.
The panel of judges, distinguished audience, good evening. I am David Agumbiade, and I would like to say a big thank you to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to talk on the topic, making new friends. Who is a friend? I define a friend as someone close to you in any way, and someone who knows at least a little about you. Note, there are good friends and bad friends, true friends and fake friends. A true friend is a friend that cares and wants something positive from you. A true friend is not just a friend that says hi or asks about your well-being at certain times. A true friend is someone who shows you the right way when you're wrong. Who is a fake friend? People see fake friends as those who don't care or those who don't ask after them. But no, a fake friend is the one who knows you're wrong and never tells you you're wrong. What can fake friends cause to people? Fake friends can bring the destruction of the victim. I call him a victim because fake friends are life robbers unknowingly. True friends can make you a better person. True friends do not mar, but make their friends. To make a true friend, you must relax, think, observe, and do not forget to pray. In conclusion, remember the saying, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. Making true friends requires wisdom, and wisdom from God. Thank you.
Thank you. Tag 8. Tag 9. Tag 9, please, media. The last speech, you started the timer late. Please, immediately you hear that your time starts now, let the timer start rolling. Your time starts now.
Panel of judges, distinguished audience, good evening. Standing before you here is no other than Oribogo Honest. I'm here to talk to you on the topic, foolishness in teenage sexual acts. Firstly, what is foolishness? Foolishness is the quality of doing the wrong thing at the right time, even while you know the consequences of that wrong thing you're doing. Next, who is a teenager? Generally, we all know a teenager as one who is between the age of 13 and 17. But I would like to tell you that a teenager is one who thinks he knows what he's doing but does not know what he's doing. One who thinks he can make decisions for himself but can't. One who thinks he can
cater for himself but actually needs a guardian, one who is ignorant of various things and is not ready to learn. What is a sexual act? A sexual act is an act that either stimulates sexual feeling or hormones in a person, or an act that involves sexual contact or intercourse between people. Teenagers who involve in sexual acts are it is sheer foolishness, because sexual intercourse is meant for people who are married, and they don't know the various consequences of sexual acts for someone who is not married. For example, we have HIV/AIDS, unwanted pregnancy, young death. There are many consequences, STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, and we have even dropped out from school, and they know that their future depends on education, but they're still involved in this thing, and they know the consequences. It is sheer foolishness. Teenagers everywhere, I would like to tell you, involving a sexual act, why not be my this foolishness? Thank you.
Put your hands together for her. I beg for the purpose of grammar. There is no right time for the wrong thing. That must be noted. No right time for the wrong thing. Thank you.
Tag 10. Tag 10. Are you ready?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Your time starts now.
Good evening, panel of judges and my distinguished audience. Standing before you here is Yabutaya Angel, and I'm here to talk about the dilemma of teenage pregnancy. First of all, what is dilemma? Dilemma is the trauma or the tragedy of the effect of doing something consequences. Now, teenage pregnancy is when a girl gets pregnant at her early age. Now let's look at causes, effects, and preventions of teenage pregnancy. It can be caused by the carriage of a girl. When a girl sits anyhow, talks anyhow, even up to the point of going into a boy's room. It can also be caused by a rape, when a man or a boy takes advantage of a girl, and also lust, when a girl starts lusting over a boy. Now the effects include abortion. When a girl gets pregnant at an early age, it may lead to abortion because the girl wouldn't like to take the pregnancy, and also lack of self-esteem. Any girl who gets pregnant at her early age won't have the courage to go up to anybody and start talking anyhow because of the pregnancy that she's carrying. And last of all, disgrace to the girl, her family, her community, and her nation. Now, the preventions include education. When a girl is not educated on how she's meant to talk to people,
Time up. Tag 10. I just wanted to point out that your definition of dilemma is wrong. It's wrong. So can you tell us that definition again? Use the mic.
Dilemma, in my own words, means trauma or tragedy of the consequences of something.
Okay, I think there's another dilemma here. I wouldn't give you that definition because we have another dilemma here, so I don't help the other person. So I will give the definition after that person comes to talk. Thank you. Next. Your time starts now.
Pedophiles are adults who engage in moral acts to children or youngsters. These are monstrous forms of human beings. But questions, where do they come from? Where they are part of us, they're with us. They linger around us in the corners of society. With this, I would like to say, good day, Chairman, good day, moderators, and panel of judges. I'm here to speak on my advice to the government concerning pedophiles. Advise the government to give severe punishment to these monstrous people and always publicize this punishment to others to see, to have this fear in them that this act is so disastrous and should not be tried or attempted by anyone, no matter the cost, no matter the urge or sexual desire they possess in them, that they shouldn't think about it or even have a flash thought on what this act will feel like. Another thing I advise the government is interviews concerning adults they employ into their facilities, especially facilities that involve children in them, concerning their schools, public schools, and other facilities and daycares. Government should emphasize strict interviews for adults to make sure they are properly well equipped and able to control themselves well with their youngsters and other children. Adults should be able to stay close to children, give them advice, and take them as their own kin or family members, and not to feel to them or go close to them, engaging in sexual touches and other activities with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Tag 13.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Your time starts now.
Good evening, panel of judges, my distinguished audience. My name is Dorani Dunkun, and I'm highly honored to stand here to give a speech on youth, sex, and mobile phones. Youth can be defined, youth, I may say, is someone that's going into the adulthood. Sex, in my term, is a sexual intercourse that happens between a man and a woman. And may I emphasize, a married man and a married woman. Sex is not for youth. Disadvantages of sex. It can cause spiritual breakdown. It can also cause unwanted pregnancy. It can lead to death. When a girl gets pregnant and wants to abort the child, probability of her dying is 50%. Mobile phones. Mobile phones, I may say, is an electronic means of communication. It is positive and it's negative in its own way. The positive effects of mobile phones, you can be at a part of the world and you can also know what's going on at the other side just by taking out your mobile phones and checking the internet. It has made communication portable. Mobile phones have also given us means of access to the internet. The negative effect of a mobile phone, it has led to the death of youths. This can be through addiction. Youth these days use their mobile phones while on the road. Thank you.
Please, those are the media. Please, I don't know why our mic will be off. Thank you. You're doing a good job, but please, let's still be here. Tag 14. Tag 14. You have 90 seconds. Your time starts now.
Good evening, the impromptu speech officials and my distinctive listeners. Standing before you is Okoro David, and I'm here to tutor you on the effects of home pornography and effects on the youth. Pornography is the display of sexual scenes, bodies, or objects to make one feel sexually excited or exalted. Home pornography has its banes, and listen carefully as I unveil them to you. Firstly, distraction. Youths who watch pornography videos are vulnerable to distractions both in class and at home. The person won't be able to focus because the imaginary bodies or objects cloud his or her brain. Secondly, home pornography drives youth to explore sex. Youths who are porn watchers are curious to have sex, which can lead to the contraction of sexually transmitted disease and early teen pregnancy, which causes domestic shame and shame to his or her family. Thirdly, home pornography leads many youths to hell. The Bible says that we should flee from all appearance of evil. God frowns with anyone who indulges in watching porn videos and punishes them internally. Lastly, home pornography leads to truancy. Many youths skip classes just to watch porn videos. This is bad and it also causes poor performance in schools. Thank you.
Please come back, pick the mic, In as much as we said we wouldn't really interject, but these speeches is not for you. It's for everybody to learn. Now, can you tell me what is home pornography? Define it. Home pornography.
Home pornography takes place in the house, in domestic setting. Home pornography is the display of sexual scenes, bodies, or objects. And this is being watched at home.
Watched at home?
Yes.
How is it watched?
It's watched at home. It's being viewed by youths at home.
Like through their phone? Is it phone, television? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, social media is in the house.
Okay, that is wrong. Now, I would need everybody in this room to listen, because the reason why your educators added home porn in the list of topics is for you to actually know that this is ongoing in our various homes, and most of our parents are victims of this. They are guilty, sorry. Now, some of us come from homes where you have your mother changing clothes in front of you. You have elder sisters that are grown up and they wear unclad things. They don't feel they are doing anything wrong because they say, it's my brother, it's my sister. You have parents that bathe with their children. Mothers bathing with their little sons, and vice versa. If porn is watching of nude and lewd things, pictures on your phone, now what would you call the display of nudity in the house? So the child is left with these pictures, and you wouldn't know what it would do to that child. Many people who venture into porn actually got introduced to it from the house, because they keep seeing elderly ones, go about naked in the house wearing things that they shouldn't wear. So that is home pornography. Did you understand it now?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, let me just quickly correct that impression. I will not use the word most in homes. Parenting is a very important thing. I do know that my parents never did porn, even for the fact that they were not Christians at that time. But we do know that some homes does home porns. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Tag 15. "90 seconds. Your time starts now."
Good day, the chairman, panel of judges, and audience. I'm AJ Chimirabo, here to speak on the topic, factors influencing youth sexting practice. Sexting is a reference to sex and other erotic topics via texting. But we didn't just wake up one morning, look at our phones and start doing it. It was a gradual process. Number one, lack of parental guidance. Parents work harder and longer to make ends meet and may not have enough time for their children. The children left on their own indulge in some social vices such as sexting. Number two,
peer pressure coupled with negative peer influence. John sexts Samantha, Samantha sexts John, Jake sexts me. Should I reply? I'm undecided. Number 3, the media. It's right there on the TV. Beyonce and Jay-Z, everyone's doing it. Should I do it? I do it. I'm enslaved for life. Number 4, adventurism. Like the popular music scientist Ariana Grande, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Now, I can't just talk on the causes. I also have to talk on the consequences. Number 1, no morality. Number 2, burden. We are enslaved to sexting. Number 3, psychological effect, erotic thinking. Now, I also have to outline the prevention and solution. Adequate parental guidance. Please, parents, have time for your children. Inculcate strong moral decadence in the educational institutions. And finally, we should upbring our children with good morals.
Thank you. Tag 15, Abi. Use the mic. Well done.
Thank you.
How did you know all this? How?
I sat down and I thought.
When was the first time you heard the word or saw the word sexting?
I saw it in a book. I wish I knew this before I was 14.
I wish I knew it.
I wish I knew this before I was 14.
By who? Who's the author?
I can't vividly remember.
Well done. Thank you.
Tag 16, you're up. Okay, we don't have 16. Okay, 17. 90 seconds.
Immorality is a social vice that has destroyed the futures.
Start now.
Immorality is a social vice that has destroyed the futures
Hold
of
on,
many.
hold on, hold on. All music teachers and their orchestra, please, you're needed outside because immediately after this round, you will be coming up next. All music teachers and your orchestra. Okay, we're good? All right, 90 seconds, your time starts now.
Immorality is a social vice that has destroyed the futures of many 21st century youths. Fornication is now seen as the order of the day in most countries. Youths now neglect their number one priority, their virginity. Standing on the already existing protocols, my name is Eduma David. I'm here to deliver an impromptu speech on sexual purity. Sexual purity, immorality is something youths now see as a regularity, something they do for fun, but what they don't understand is that it is not for them. This is for married men and women. Your priority is your virginity. Once you keep your virginity, you have happiness, it brings joy, it brings peace, stability. You know, immorality brings distraction, it brings academic downfall. But when you're pure, when you're keeping your virginity, when you're going to get married, you know that yes, I am pure, I am a virgin, I am my husband, we are going to live a happy life. It brings happiness in most families. I also want to tell you that once you're able to keep your virginity, you're going to be a happy person, you're not going to be distracted. Thank you very much.
Tag 17. I'm tempted to ask you one question, but let me not ask you. Tag 18. You have 90 seconds. Your time starts now.
Good evening. Um, Good evening, Chairman, panel of judges, and my distinguished audience. Standing before you is no other person but Obasamoa Cyril, and I'll be here talking about the topic, steps to avoid in losing one's chastity. First of all, chastity is a virtue that someone possesses which shows or reflects pureness and transparency. Chastity is essential for everyone who dreams of being great, because chastity comes with a sense of pride that, when it's lost, is replaced with low self-esteem and emptiness. Now, some few steps to take in order to avoid losing one's chastity are, first of all, avoid carelessness, avoid lack of self-control, avoid indiscipline, avoid spiritual dullness or weakness, avoid keeping the wrong peer group. Now, I'm going to emphasize mainly on the last point I just said. In some schools and maybe the society generally, some people tend to say that if you are still a virgin, you are a fool or something. But if you can take a virtual image of that scenario, you see that you are in a royal regalia and you are elevated more than those who are talking to you. Thank you.
Next person. Your time starts now.
The panel of judges, principal officers, erudite educators, my distinguished listeners, good evening. Standing before you is Monzo Collins, and I'm here to give a speech on, can decent youth be found in a corrupt environment? To start, it's indeed appalling and very pitiful to know that our nation is being plagued by perturbing perversions, in which corruption is the mother of them all. The rate of moral decadence in our nation is very alarming, and various questions could be asked. Could the teeming youth of these great nations be saved from, could the teeming youth of this great nation be redeemed from the mother called corruption? How can this be done? Who are those involved? Undeniably, corrupt practices are very cumbersome to be eradicated from a nation, but I assure you that can be achieved. To start with, the fear of the Lord, according to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7a, is the beginning of knowledge. If we all can fear the Lord, I believe these corrupt practices could be eradicated. According to William Shakespeare, he said we should love all and trust a few. Who are your friends? Who do you keep beside you? Peer influence, one of the greatest problems we have in our nation. And if this could be managed, I believe you have a corrupt-free Nigeria. Also, kidnapping, indecency, and other social vices are terms bemoaned by those yet to think beyond what these corrupt practices have to offer. If we all put our hands together, we will all be rest assured of a corrupt-free and a God-fearing Nigeria. Though corruption can be considered a canker, one that has eaten deep into the social fabrics of our nation, that can be changed. And also, if we all work
together... Time up. Next.
Thank you.
Next. Your timer is right in front of you. Let it guide you. Please put your hands together for these, our .90 seconds. Your time starts now.
Good evening, panel of judges and my distinguished audience. My name is Emmanuel Amsala John. I'm here to present a speech on the topic, the dilemma of a careless visitation. In reference to the Bible, an idle person is the devil's workshop. So only an idle person will go around visiting places of worldly interest. Well, I'm not condemning visiting places, but you have to sideline where you go to, people you meet, and what they do. In the biblical case of King David, he carelessly moved around in the city instead of him to do his royal duties, which made him look upon the wife of his fellow soldier and caused a lot of havoc. Well, careless visitation causes a lot of havoc and dangerous effects on people who go into it, like unwanted pregnancy and sometimes death. So I'm trying to say that students of nowadays should fill in that time with studying their books and reading their Bible instead of them going around visiting worldly places. Thank you.
Thank you. Tag 20. Hold on. Hold on. Take your mic. Please define dilemma.
In my own words, I think dilemma is the havoc of something or the dangerous effect something causes on people or things. Thank you.
Okay, let me help. I think that's the reason why you and the other tag 10 didn't really understand the topic. Dilemma is being faced with a situation of choosing between two options, and neither of these options have a positive outcome. You have two options before you. You need to make a choice. But if you choose one, you are in trouble. You choose the other, you are in trouble. So when you have that situation, you can say, I am in a dilemma. You're confused about what to do, because when you choose any of those options, you have issues. You know, so when you say the dilemma of a careless visitation, your topic was actually direct, telling you that is the careless one that we are talking about, not the other. You mentioned that you had positive and negative, you know, but now we are saying narrow it down to the negative, you know, the careless visitation, which you did not address. For tag 10, teenage pregnancy. What are the options that are available for that teen that is pregnant? In that situation, the options that the little girl faces, some are faced with the option of terminating the pregnancy. That's abortion. Some are faced with the, what's it called now? The option of, okay, do I run away from home? Some people actually run away from home, some elope. There are many options that those people who are pregnant at the teenage age face, that their outcome is not a good one for those teens. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have one more. Okay, three more. Have you? Okay, 3 more. Tag what? 21. 90 seconds. Your time starts now.
Good day, the moderator, panel of judges, the principal, school management, and my audience. My name is Akinwale Olubumi Glory, and I'm here to present an impromptu speech on the topic, a Joseph before Potiphar's wife. I start with the definition Joseph. In today's description, in our modern world today, a Joseph represents a pure youth in our dirty world. Our world is a world full of moral impurities and moral indecencies. A Joseph represents a lily in the mire in a dirty world. Potiphar's wife is like a world in the definition, a world full of moral decadence, a world that is corrupt, a world that to stand out to be a very hard thing to do. As the General Superintendent of Deeper Life Bible Church says, a Joseph does not stand out because of his refusal. He stands out because of the way he refused. Joseph refused vehemently, and as Christian youth today, we have to refuse vehemently just the way Joseph refused. Potiphar's wife is the world in the moral decadence, and Joseph is the lily standing out in the world. He's a different, like, the GS told us that we can be able to say others may, we cannot, just like Joseph did. And thank you.
All right, come back. If I say I did not enjoy you, that's a lie. All right? I am aware that Deeper Life High School is a faith-based institution. Is it not? All right? Your delivery was perfect. However, I'm going to ask this question. You talked about Joseph.
Yes, sir.
What book of the Bible is the story of Joseph?
The story of Joseph is found in Genesis chapter 39.
Chapter 39.
Yes.
Pastors, is that correct? Eh? The last speaker, I need you to come up. The last speaker before her. Yeah, tag 20. All right. There was a Bible reference you made during your speech. Can you remember it?
Yes, sir.
What did you say?
I said I referred to the biblical case of David, in which he went around the city moving about when his men were at war and looked upon the body of the wife of his soldier.
That's the story of Uriah's wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Good. What book of the Bible is that story?
First Kings.
Thank you. Go ahead.
First Kings.
Eh?
First Kings.
First Kings. Is that correct, pastors? Okay, there is a pastor here, so he has confirmed that. You're not sure, man of God. All right, but you said in your contest that he was walking around, Abi? But I remember that my own Bible, during my, it was on top of his, Abi? Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Two of you can see that. Clap for them.
Tag 22, right? Tag 22, you have the floor, 90 seconds, your time starts now.
Good day, Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, my accurate timekeeper, my co-debate, my speakers. My name is LOtC and I'm here to speak on the topic, dangers of sexual seductive messages. In any occasion when sexuality is involved, that means that there's a negative thing. Sexuality means sex. Seductive is anything that stipulates sex, and messages is a communication between two or more people. Let's say that sexual seductive messages is a message that stipulates sex among two people, which may be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman. Examples of messages, of seductive messages, can be, I cannot sleep without you. There are different things that happens in the night without you. I'm always dreaming about you. Dangers of seductive messages: regret, neglect, pain, and sorrow. Seductive messages is like a fresh skin. It's like a fresh skin with a wound, which salt is added to it. Just like you have a boyfriend, the boyfriend tells you about love, then the boyfriend ends up breaking your heart. You will never forget what your boyfriend did because you yourself, you loved him, but he never loved you. Neglect. Your parents might be rich. If any enemy of your parents sees you in the network, communicating seductive messages between people, you might end up having sorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one thing. Why is it that every time is the guy that is breaking the girl's heart? What of the girls that are breaking the guy's heart? Eh?
Sir, mostly the people who start relationships are the girls. But you might find out that the girls are the one enforcing love on the boys.
Then the boys to get, because maybe their parents might be rich, the boy to get close to her might prove that he loves her, not knowing that, the girl not knowing to her that he himself hates her. Then when he eventually gets the riches of the girl, he might end up breaking the relationship with her, and the girl will be left with nothing, and the family will end up in sorrow.
You've been watching a lot of Nollywood movies. Thank you. Tag 23, and that's our last presenter for the night. Tag 23, you've got 90 seconds. Your time starts now.
When we hear about game betting, what actually comes to our mind? Niger Bet, isn't it? Yes. Before I go on, good evening, panel of judges, my chairman, and my distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you. Emphasizing more on game betting using Niger Bet. When people come together, especially men, when they watch football, they decide on which game is winning. And they tell their members, if this team wins, you're going to give me this. And many people, they invest their money, properties, even their wives, just to know that the team wins. And eventually when the team wins, they will have to pay the price. And those who invest their wife, what would they do? They'll give her their wives, isn't it? Their properties, let me say, if you're a rich man, and you give in, and you have a company, and you invested 10 of them, and you give them all of them, what will you have? It results into poverty. And the consequences of game betting can result into poverty and loss of your wives. So these 3 points of mine. Thank you.
Put your hands together. They say the best wine is served last, and that wine does not have alcohol. Put your hands together for her. All right, with that, we've come to the end. With that, we've come to the end of the impromptu speech competition. Now, all participants, clap for yourselves. You have all done well. Well done. Now, for the purpose of education, what you essentially spoke about tonight is about the ills of society, especially the ones that has to do with sex, and of course the ones that has to do with pools or games betting. Now, from your discussion, you will discover that your phone is a medium of evil communication if you choose to apply it. The Bible tells us that communication that is evil corrupts what? Good manners. So you must avoid evil communication at all standards. The other is that the Bible also tells us that if you resist the devil, it will flee. Importantly, you must not come face to face with things that will play up psychology in you, because the devil has a way of doing his things. So what you do, close your ears, close your heart from anything that has to do with sex. You are not for sex, you are for education. Knowing the bad aspects of sex should keep you far away from it. There are people who are suffering from HIV/AIDS right now. There are those who have untreated STDs that have gotten to the level where their kidneys have been eaten up and they have to go for dialysis. In the end, it is death. So as students, we must keep away from these vices. Is that right? Is that right? Then put your hands together for yourself. Thank you. Now, if you are confronted with any of the things that you see is your counselor in the school that will counsel you. Okay? If you have a